What's up, everybody? My name's Aaron Daniels, and I'm here with my friend Jeff Hooper with Seventh Heaven Music. It's just truly an honor and a privilege to be able to be on here with you, man. How are you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing well. Thanks a lot, Aaron. Thanks a lot for having me. Yeah, good to see
Man,
you, man.
yeah, man, it's good to see you too, man. Yeah, virtual is the way to go, and it's kind of speaks a little bit to even like how we met. I'm pretty sure you remember. I know we had met through a mutual friend, and
Yep.
we started working together. And truly just blown away, like genuinely blown away by your music. And I've had the opportunity to be able to mix a lot of those songs and all kinds of cool stuff, and I'm happy for your journey. But yeah, kind of speak a little bit to that. Like, how was that experience? Like reaching out to somebody who you had no idea who this person was, and you're like kind of going on good faith that this person would like not
Yeah,
like Talk to me a
man.
little bit about that.
First off, thanks again for having me, Aaron. I was studying like basically basic mixing techniques with Kaia,
Yeah,
okay, in Ableton, because Ableton has kind of been my DAW of choice in my early learning. So I'm studying mixing with Kaia, and Kaia starts to bring up your name. Now I don't know you, but she keeps mentioning your name. We're going to do some basic techniques, but you're really going to want to ship this off to this guy, Aaron
oh,
Daniels. So she
she's
talks
so
more and
kind.
more about you. And as I came to understand, I believe her husband has done a fair amount of work with you in the past,
Yeah.
and you guys have done some projects together. So it was Kaya Kenna, and endless thanks to her as well for putting me in touch with you. Sure enough, once we connected, you started mixing my singles. About probably coming up on 2 years ago, at least a
Yeah.
year and a half ago now. I said, wow, this guy is absolutely fantastic. So thank you for all that you've given to my
Oh
my
yeah, man.
recent projects. Yeah.
Oh, dude.
It's been a blast, but it's all just the happenstance of this industry, right? Is meeting
Yeah.
people through other people.
Yep.
You and I have spoken many times just this way, but we've never
Yeah.
met in person. So I do look forward to that one day.
Oh yeah, it's gonna happen for sure. I'm super excited. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, I remember. So it's a funny thing. Kaya Nutting is one of we were in an acapella group. We were never together in the acapella group, but we were in the same acapella group when we were in college, and we had crossed paths as she was graduating. I was entering into the group, and
Oh,
we got to do some really cool stuff back at CU Denver, and the acapella group changed the way I thought of music and all of that stuff. So
okay.
it kind of started as like kind of like a little bit more of the heartbeat of how I've gotten to mixing, production, all of that stuff. So
I got that. I did not know
yeah,
that story. That's cool.
yeah, Kaya, yeah, she's an amazing songwriter and so many other things. But yeah, dude, it's great.
Absolutely. She's been
It's
a great mentor to me, and I've learned a lot from her
oh
for
yeah,
sure.
dude. And the other thing I was gonna mention, dude, is like I remember hearing your music for the first time, and I was like, yo, like the amount of investment you have into like genuine like the amount of investment you have into your musicality and then the quality of what you're bringing in really as a producer to your music is like a lot of times you don't see that. Sometimes it's like if you don't see one person playing on the whole record, then it's that's that team. That seems to be very common, but for you to be able to really know how to bring and produce and to be able to bring other instrumentalists into your musical vision is
Man,
the
I,
way
I
to go.
appreciate that so much. I really do, Aaron. I think it's more a tribute to the music that I've listened to my whole life,
Yeah,
and also listening to other craftsmen and other
yeah,
producers and how they sort of visualize the process of how they're going to create the song they intended.
yeah,
I was never interested in sort of forming a band.
yeah.
You look at my logo and it's Seventh Heaven Music. I'm not really trying to hide behind a logo, but I'm
Right.
not trying to be a band. I'm not really a performer myself per se. I'm just trying to craft songs, and there may be different musicians, and I may be bringing different people out in based on what the song calls for.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's my job as a producer, is to really serve the song, whether it's a song I've written or maybe that somebody else has written, is how can I best serve the song with the right musicians for that song. And then the gift of the musicianship of others
Oh
who have
yeah.
lent, I mean, yourself included, and we'll get into
Yeah,
that
man.
with my recent song. But
Yeah.
when you find others so very willing to contribute, to understand what it is you're trying to convey, and then to
Right.
and then to feed it to you, it's
Yeah.
just a beautiful thing. So to just tiptoe into this community has been just amazing for me, and really a lifelong dream realized, honestly.
Dude, that is awesome. Yeah, like you said something that's really important. Like when it comes to the whole aspect of production, is it's not in being a musician is driven behind you being behind your instrument, but being
Right,
a producer is serving the song, serving the artist, and in
right,
this way, in a way, you're serving yourself, which is really
right.
cool. And it's humbling too because I know you're a musician as well. You
Yeah,
expressed to me you played bass. What else? Kind of talk to me a little bit about what you
I
play,
do.
and then yeah.
I consider bass my primary instrument. I always have. My dad put a bass in my hands when I was in fifth grade.
Oh man,
One of the greatest things that's ever happened to me in my life. He was actually my elementary school band director. Okay,
what? Whoa,
so
whoa, whoa!
both of my parents, were music educators. So
Oh
I
my
grew up in
gosh,
a house where there was a lot of music and a lot of music education, and there was a lot of attention to the craft of music. Okay,
yeah,
both in what we actually practicing in the home, hearing music played in the home, practiced in the home,
yeah,
hearing discussions about music in the home, both as an individual player and in ensembles. So I grew up with this notion of the dedication to the craft that you need
yeah,
to really produce good music. So
yeah.
that's a big credit to my parents. But yeah, my dad put a bass in my hands in fifth grade. So that's the music. That's the instrument that I really fell in love with.
That's awesome.
Now as a writer, I play a little bit of keyboard. I play a little bit of guitar. I don't perform on those, but I certainly use those melodically to write frequently. But what I play on is bass. But you mentioned something earlier. As a producer, people keep saying, "Oh, Jeff, pick up your bass and play on your songs." And I don't even play on my own songs usually.
Wow.
I want to be as strong as I can as a producer. I want to be there to answer the questions that the other musicians are asking me. I want to be there with the engineer talking about where we need to go next in the
Yeah,
process or what we need to redo or any subtleties that need to be addressed on the
yeah,
day of in the studio. I really want to be attentive to that. I don't want to be worried about my bass line, at
yeah.
all. So I very most frequently don't even play on my own tracks, which people find curious, but it's my way to sort of serve these songs that I'm trying to produce here.
Dude, that is so awesome. Yeah, there's such a beauty in all of that. So that's cool. That's really cool. I'll share a little bit about my entry into music.
Absolutely.
I started in of course I did the whole band thing, but I grew up playing drums, but my grandfather was owned a record shop in Oklahoma City and was into so many genres of music, but was really
Oh
into
yeah.
like a lot of jazz and R&B. Like that's what I grew up on. And I think that was another thing that kind of drew me to a lot of your music. Like I'm hearing a lot of influence with pop, jazz, all kinds of cool stuff, even a little bit of
Yeah.
country, which is really
Yeah.
cool. Talk to me a little bit about like some of your musical influences. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
what are you listening to? What creates Jeff's sound? What creates Seventh Heaven music sound?
That's a great question. Thank you. When I was really young, so my grandfather was a jazz musician in New Orleans. Okay. So, man, he was into the pure traditional jazz that was happening down in New Orleans, Dixieland in
Yeah,
particular. So he really favored those forms. Now, my father kind of favors the traditional as well, specifically jazz. So that's what I got as a young, maybe a 10-year-old in the 70s. I'm hearing a lot of this jazz, but then also imagine the pop sound that was happening in the
oh
70s. I
my
mean, we're talking
gosh,
about Stevie Wonder,
yes,
Earth, Wind, and Fire, Steely Dan, just to name a few of my
whew.
favorites. These were radio pop bands in the
Yeah,
70s, man. So I've got all this sort of background in jazz, but now I'm hearing more pop acts. And I started to develop this love of the acts that were sort of fusing the pop and the jazz,
yeah,
and even some funk and R&B and stuff. But I really loved when I could hear sort of a mainstream pop song that still lent itself to some improvised solos,
yeah.
some cool changes that were outside of the
Right,
norm.
right, right.
So that's really what served me my whole life is those bands that I think are trying to kind of appeal to the mainstream, but not go so far away from they're okay with that jazz elements here and there and a little more complexities than you would typically hear in a traditional pop song.
Right. Dude, that is killer. Yeah, that's which kind of explains kind of why there is some of that like you're saying like a little bit of like country. Like there's
Yeah.
like this balance between, okay, there's pocket in the music, and then there's like something that we can that keeps our brains going, keeps us interested, right?
Yeah, yeah. You
That's
mentioned country. Oh, sorry to cut you off.
no, you're good. You're good.
No, you mentioned country. So about 10 years ago, I had really put music aside for like half of my adult life for like 25 years. I mean, I
Wow.
literally didn't play a note. I had just put music completely aside after I got out of college. And then my daughter got to the age, but this is about 10 years back. My daughter got to the age where she started asking about music and she
Yeah.
wanted to get a little guitar. We got her a little 3/4 size pink guitar,
Yeah.
and I started showing her like 3 string chords on this little bitty guitar that her little hands could play.
Oh,
And it got me thinking. It got me yearning for that music again. So I got myself a guitar. I dusted off my bass and I said, dude, you've put music aside long enough. It's time to get back into it. So one of the first things I did was I went on Craigslist in Nashville. You remember the old Craigslist,
oh my
right?
gosh.
You
Yeah.
could
Before
post
Facebook
anything on
Marketplace.
Craigslist. I'm
Yes.
aging myself, but yeah. I go on Craigslist in Nashville and I put out a post that says, "Hey, I got a story that I've written. Is there anybody who can take my little story and turn it into a song?"
Oh man.
That's all I posted, just that random. So right away, a lady by the name of Robin Ruddy in Nashville replied to me and said, "Hey, I'm a songwriter. I'll take your cute little story and I'll turn it into a song."
That's so
And I
dope.
said, "Cool." So I send her my story. She turns around a nice little country song. And I said, "Okay." Well, it turned out that Robin Ruddy owns, to this day, a major studio called Parlor Studio on Music Row in
Ah.
Nashville.
Oh my
Okay.
gosh.
So Robin and she just happened to catch that Instagram post and decide to reply to it. So
Wow.
Robin and I started developing a relationship, and I said, "Well, that first song was cool, but now let's see if I can actually craft a lyric to a song."
So
Okay,
this is when you like started writing music?
this is when I started writing
Ah,
music.
that's
Yeah.
so dope. That is so cool.
So it was just an evolution, man. So the second I told you the first song is just her basically doing everything. The second
Right.
song is me saying, "No, let me craft the lyrics. You'll do the music, I'll craft the lyrics." As we evolved, you see where this is going. I'm taking more and more of a role in writing the music, the
Yeah.
melodies, okay? The lyrics as well. Then she says, "Well, come on into the studio and let's produce this thing.
Oh, that's
I'll teach
awesome.
you how we're going to hire session musicians, what production is like, what this equipment is like. I'll introduce you to all the players, the engineers, again, the studio musicians." So she really wrapped her arms around me and her husband as well. Rest in peace, Larry Sheridan. Her
Okay.
husband died a few years ago.
Yeah.
Um, they were beautiful to me. They just embraced me as a total outsider. Again,
Wow.
remember, I was a random guy who posted on Craigslist to them.
Right, right.
But they saw that I was serious and they saw that I love music and they saw that I was really interested in learning the craft. I was very attentive. I was a sponge. I was feeding back to them what I was learning and I was asking for more.
Yeah.
So, and they kept giving. They kept giving to me. So Robin Ruddy again has been just a
Robin
huge
Ruddy.
inspiration to me. But I brought up Robin because you mentioned country influences in
Yeah.
my song. "Facing a Cloud" comes to mind. She's got a beautiful pedal steel solo. That's all Robin
Ah,
Ruddy. Okay.
whoa. So it's
That was a nod to her, man. That was a nod to what she has meant to me and
ah,
I respect her and her musicianship and just that country influence. I wanted to put
wow.
that right in the middle of one of my songs. So that's right there in "Face in the Cloud." That's for her.
Yeah, that's amazing. So it's so cool because now I'm putting faces to
Yeah,
your music and like
exactly.
what came of that, which is really cool. Yeah, I remember mixing that and being like, oh, what a beautiful
Yeah.
song, and all kinds of really unique textures.
Yeah.
Like there was some really like synthy kind of like keyboard sounds happening
Yeah.
around that were amazing. Um,
Aaron, another interesting realization to me is so I started going to Nashville, and now I go a time or two a year to
yeah,
Nashville to the studio, right, to work.
yeah,
One of the things I learned that I was very wrong about was I assumed I'm going to go to Nashville, I'm going to get a bunch of country players. What I mean is players who can only play country music,
right.
okay? Man, I got that myth tossed out right away. What I got was musicians who most often play country,
Right.
who maybe they're in a town where country music
Right.
is favored, so they may most often play country. But man, we're talking about cats who can play anything,
Oh
right? They're
yeah.
musicians. They're
Right.
not country musicians, musicians.
Right.
So I got that, everybody was very kind to me about it, but I had that attitude that I brought into the early days of that studio. I learned quickly, dude, you can bring us anything you want.
Oh
And
yeah.
you can hear it on the tracks that I send to you. Those are
Yes.
all the same players that are
That is
playing
amazing.
whatever. For example, the guitar player that I've used on all my stuff, he's the music director at the Grand Ole Opry, a guy by the name of Kerry
Wow.
Marks.
Oh wow.
Now you can listen to his guitar playing; it's absolutely stellar. Just beautiful work on my
Yeah.
tunes. That's all him. That's all his musicianship. But by day, he's playing guitar on Opry tunes for country artists, right? So that's
Right.
just the point. That was something I had to really learn. What these guys may do by day or may do that you see on TV is not all they can do.
Right.
Really good lesson about what musicianship is, not just any one genre, man. It's your ability to kind of go
Right.
across genres and be very effective and functional across genres.
Dude, that's so well put. Yeah, I know a lot of my friends who are in Nashville. You literally painted the canvas there. It's exactly that where it's like, yeah, we can lean into this country record right now, but
Right.
we can do it all.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that's a big thing I noticed with your music. It's like there are different things happening,
yeah,
and even the creative choices that are made in the recording phase are like awesome. Like, okay, this is going to sound a little bit more ambient, or this is going to sound
yeah,
a little bit more tighter with more of a Latin feel. Like, that's awesome.
yeah,
Let's talk a little bit about your most recent song, Deep Blue
yeah.
Sea. Um, Talk to me a little bit about like what inspired the creation of the song, and tell me a little bit about the story. I think the world would really like to hear that.
Yeah, thanks, Aaron. So Deep Blue Sea is instrumental, as you well know. So a few years ago, a friend of mine passed away, and I was kind of in a still, quiet place after that, and picked up my guitar, and sort of the A section of that song came out. That melody came out pretty easily, and I sat on that for a while. I just kept going through that melody, sort of waiting and wanting for something else to kind of come to it. And as some time went by, as a few months went by, um, maybe the sadness and stillness starts to lift into more hopefulness, right? So
Yeah,
so we begin to see beyond sort of the initial mourning or the sadness or the stillness of a moment, and start to try to get past that and to see the others around us trying to move past that. So I wanted the song to also evoke some sense of hopefulness out of that sadness. So that's where that kind of B section came.
yeah,
So the idea again was just to evoke sort of a darker, stiller, sadder place, but
yeah,
but to also evoke the hopefulness that is always there for us. Okay, even after we pass, or even if we watch someone very close to us that we love
yeah,
pass, that there's hopefulness to continue to keep them alive in our thoughts, to keep their spirit alive.
yeah.
So I wanted to really evoke both of those. Actually, this friend really loved the beach, so the sort of ocean sounds in the song are really a gentle nod to her and her love of of,
Wow.
of the beach. But but yeah, that was the thing. So for me, Deep Blue Sea, the concept of the song sort of ultimately is about seeing things below the surface, seeing the depth of people and circumstances,
Ah,
and that depth can be challenging to see, especially at first. But if you keep looking and you're patient with a person or a situation,
yeah.
you can often see something more meaningful, and you can find hopefulness where there may not seem to be any. So that was really the essence of the song.
Dude, that's beautiful. It's just now finally clicking for me how you had to play on words with C.
Yeah,
And so now it all
yeah, that was
ladies and gentlemen,
intentional.
yeah,
Yeah,
Jeff has a way of pulling things together in such a broad way, which is really really cool. And even like I remember like the chord changes like at the beginning are a perfect illustration, like you were saying, through these different sections of what that journey looks like. The
Yeah,
beginning's like very minor, but still
yeah,
has a sense of hope. And then
yeah,
there's this big descending section in the middle, which is
yeah,
really cool. I could talk all day about that.
yeah.
Talk,
No, I appreciate it.
yeah, dude,
I want to interrupt you
yeah,
because there was a really cool moment that happened for me because of you when I first shipped this song to you.
yeah.
And this was really about your musicianship and just your spirit. But I shipped you this song, and I believe you listened to it one time, maybe two times,
Yeah.
and you picked up your. And I know this because you recorded and sent me a voice memo of all this. You recorded your reaction to my music, which is a real
Ah,
treat that you gave me. You walked over to your piano. Again, this is all preserved in this voice
yeah,
memo that you sent me.
yeah.
You listened to my song a time or two through, and you walked up to your own piano and started noodling through the changes
Oh
yourself.
man, dude, it
And you were
speaks to
just like,
good
"Ooh, I
music.
like what you did here, man." And you were just like calling it out, and I was like, "Dude, this guy is special." So the first thought I had, and I shared it with you right
Yeah.
away, was, "I got to get Aaron to play on
Oh,
this."
dude, yeah,
I had a perfectly lovely piano track cut, as you
yeah. It
heard. It
was
was perfectly
amazing. It was
lovely. And
amazing. Yeah.
it served the song, but I thought, man, I need this man to put his heart into this
Oh
song.
man,
This is
thank you.
beautiful.
And once
So,
again, thanks for the opportunity, dude. Yeah, I remember hearing this and I was like this is more than something diatonic. This is like pulling me, kind of like the ocean. It's just like, whoa, like
yeah,
it has you all over the place. So really, really cool. And then the other thing that like caught my attention was like the the instrumentation. Like you did something that was very, very unique. Like very unique combos. I remember hearing like I think it was a flute and a flugelhorn, and even
yeah,
their choice for bass. I think the
yeah.
bass was like, Bo, talk to
Oh,
me a
the
little
bowed
bit.
bass. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, what? Like that kind of combo? Where? Why? Talk to us a little bit about like your choices there.
The arco bass. Yeah. So I love the timbre of the flugelhorn in particular and a flute. So, if I didn't mention earlier, my father was a trumpet player, my mom was a flutist.
Yes.
Okay, so there's a nod to my parents to start with. Okay,
Right.
secondly, I just love the timbre of both of these instruments. Now, my father played trumpet, I played trumpet as well, but I like the depth and the darker tone of the flugelhorn. Okay,
Yeah.
so I got a guy in Nashville. I love his flugel playing, so he cut that flugel, but I love the flute kind of on top of that. Okay,
Yeah.
so often if you go through the middle of the song, the flute is often echoing the
Echoing.
flugelhorn.
Right.
Same melody, but I like that echo effect. Like she's got a dark tone. It's a little brighter than the flugelhorn, and it's like in a different register, obviously. But I wanted that
Right.
echo effect. I didn't need to vary the melody, man. I
Right.
like a simple, pleasing melody. But I wanted that flute to kind of echo the flugel through the middle of that song. And
Right.
she did a really great job. But yeah, more than anything, it was a nod. It was a nod to my parents and creating a love of those two particular horns. The
Man.
trumpet and a flute.
Yeah, dude, that is so neat. And in general, just your music, like I said before, your musical choices are very, I can tell they're very intentional. But not only are they intentional, like you create space for the musicians and the people who are creating on your within your music to be able to express themselves even in very broad, I'll call them broad confines, right? Where it's like, yeah, these are the instruments, but even still, it's really
Yeah.
awesome decision for you to be able to
Man,
make
thank you so much.
musical choices
I
like that.
appreciate that. And again, I appreciate the job you did. Many people have now listened to the song. It was released about a week or so ago. And I'm getting a lot of comments about the song, a lot of positive feedback, but people will say, man, that the piano part, the way he kind of left room and kind of left room for these solos that are happening and these
Yeah,
horn lines that are happening. I just said, man, Aaron Daniels is a freaking genius. I mean, I knew
dude.
he was a beautiful mixer on that technical side, but honestly, I didn't understand the depth of your musicianship, and I really again appreciate that you lent that to me for this song.
Oh yeah, man, dude. Thank you once again. Thank you for the opportunity because that's one of the most like unorthodox ways to be able to approach her. I was literally just like completely fine with what I was hearing, but I was so intrigued by like your musical choices, like progressions and like just the way things are pulling. And that's exactly what it was for me is I put my producer hat even when I'm playing. It's like, how can I serve the song? How can I serve the song? How can I serve the musicians that are already here, even if I'm not in the same room? And that's
Yeah.
the main thing. It's the same thing. How can I tell that story? How can I pull the emotion out of these
Yeah.
changes that are happening? Because the
Man, one
melody,
of the
oh, sorry, the melody was
no,
telling us
sorry.
exactly where to go. The melody was so clear. It it lent itself to all the changes, which is speaks to your musicianship and your
Man,
expertise. So
thank you so much. One of the things you did, one of the many things you did in mixing that song that I love was in that B section, that more hopeful section. Um, you changed the reverb. You put distinctively more reverb on in that section,
yeah,
and I love the way it really helps evoke exactly it's exactly what you're saying. It
yeah,
is the melody is telling you now we're going into a more hopeful feeling.
yes,
Okay, we're out of this minor vibe and we're feeling better about things now,
right,
and you just amplified that
yep,
without volume but in a different way, and then you brought it right back down when we came out of that middle, sort of that
yep,
apex. You brought that reverb back down, and I just thought, man, what a nice musical touch
yeah.
for you to add.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Like I consider mixing just an extension of anyone's musicality, right? So a good mixing engineer has to be able to make good musical decisions, right? They're telling a story just as the musicians are. So it was very much so the same. Like I could feel kind of like this cold aspect of the beginning of the song, right? Like this loneliness. So with my mixing decisions, I'm wanting to accentuate that, right? I'm going to pull back on the effects. I want us to focus in on exactly what's going on. I want us to hear the waves, right? So I can't put too much reverb because it's going to get in the way. And then during that dreamy part in the middle, like you were saying, where it feels like something's transforming, that's when we can lean in on a creative
Exactly.
aspect. So,
Yeah.
dude, thank you. That's great. So with all the music you've been working on, all the music you've been writing, everything, talk to me a little bit about like what's next for you. What's next? What projects are you working on? Talk to me a little bit about
Yeah.
that. What do you have in the
Thank you.
works?
So you know that we've got a couple of other Deep Blue Sea sort of other versions
Yes.
that we've done that have not been released.
Yeah.
So I'm looking for a place and time to get those things out. You remember the Fraser Belmar bass version that we
Yes.
did? That's done really well.
Yeah.
She released that herself, so that's not under my seventh heaven, but that's under hers. That's done really well. You remember we kind of colored a version of that where we put all
Yeah.
this percussion. You remember all that
Yep.
stuff, and you did like some cool. So I got that. I got that in my back pocket. We're gonna do
Dope.
something with that. And then we've also got a version of this one that we just put out that has the poetry in the beginning. So you remember that one
Yes.
that you did as
Yes.
well. So I got those two things. I've also got another song called 29 that is done. And that one, my friend, is on its way to
Woo.
you very soon
Nice. I'm
for your
excited.
magic. So that one's all cut. So I'm really excited about that. Beyond that, I'm going to do something new, which is I want to write a praise band chart. So
Dude,
I'm
that's
really
awesome.
blessed to I participate as the bass player in my church's praise band.
Dude, that's
And I
awesome.
have been inspired to write a praise band chart. So I'm going to go to town on that and see. I really want to be diverse. I want to
Yeah.
practice in different genres. And so I will certainly be calling upon you, my friend, there as
Yeah,
well.
man. Dude,
So
that's amazing. Dude, just isn't that cool that we can like really serve all of our music and our communities in different ways? Like,
exactly.
and we contribute something to each of those different
Yep.
areas, and each of those different interactions. And the kind of doors that gets to
Absolutely.
open up are amazing. That's really cool, man.
Thank you, man. As a producer, as I mentioned, I really rarely play even on my own tracks. In fact,
Yeah.
this 29 track is the very first one that I've ever played bass
Dude,
on, which
I'm
is kind of
excited to
funny.
hear that. I'm really,
So,
really
so it
excited to
is
hear that.
me finally, but I do love playing in my praise band. And like I said, I've been inspired to try to write, and I've actually started that process. Started kind of gathering sounds and ideas and stuff. Kaia has been working, helping me sort of get organized for that. So
I
that's going
love
to be
it,
a
man.
lot of fun. And as I said, I will be calling on you
Oh,
all the
dude.
time.
Dude, it's always an opportunity just to be able to create with you, man. And thank you. Like, ultimately, thank you for just amazing music. Like genuinely. Like I work on a lot of different things and you've probably heard a lot of different things just
Sure.
from day to day. And to be able to genuinely hear music like yours is like genuinely an honor. Like I look forward to anything that's coming from you, man. So,
Well, man,
dude,
the
yeah.
honor is mine. I mean, working with you since minute one has been an absolute privilege to me. You've done so very much for me, even supporting me
Yeah, dude.
behind the scenes, very responsive to me, very a good teacher for me.
I
So I
appreciate
just
it.
look forward to, first off, I look forward to continuing to work with you. And
Yeah.
secondly, I look forward to actually meeting you,
Oh,
man.
dude, that's what's I'm really looking forward to that. Either way, whether it's you coming here
Yeah.
or me heading down there, it would be awesome, man.
Man, you're going to see me because I want to meet not a little, I want to meet you, but I want to do it in that studio that you're sitting in. You
Yes,
know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
man. Yeah, dude.
I want to play with you as well.
Yeah, dude. That I'm so excited for it all. So yeah, we got to definitely get you to come out to Denver. It's cool out here. I have nothing negative to say about Denver. We get a lot of
It's going to
sunshine.
happen. Yeah, it's only a matter of time.
Yeah, man. Jeff, dude, thank you so much once again. And yeah, you guys go check out his music. He's got amazing stuff out. I couldn't brag enough. And I'm really excited for you guys to be able to go check out Deep Blue Sea and all that's gonna come from this. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's
man,
all
I appreciate you again. Thank you very much for having me.
yeah, dude.
This was fun. This was a lot of fun to talk about this stuff with you. I always enjoy talking music
Yeah,
with you, so
dude.
this was a blast.
Yeah, man.
And yeah, again, thank you, and just look forward to seeing you soon.
Yeah, man. All right, we'll talk soon.
Take care, man.
All right, take care.